The following provides information on how to set up automation queues on your server. To configure your automation queues on your server, go to Menu, Doremi Labs, Macro Editor. You will be presented with the Macro Editor screen, which is based off two tabs. The first tab is the automation queue and is made up of two windows. The first is the macro window, placed on the left-hand side, and the macros created here are stackable. Macros are for any messages that are going outward from the Doremi server to another device. The second window on the right displays the start time and action of the macro you created. In this example, we are going to build macros for a show start, which is generally the first thing you will want to do when building a show playlist. Start by clicking on the green plus icon button located on the top left-hand side of the Automation Queue tab window to create a new macro. You will be presented with a macro settings window. In this example, we will type in the name of the macro 2D flat start in the corresponding window and then click on the OK button. You will then see that the macro created is placed into the macro listing window in the Automation Queue tab. Once you have created a macro, you will then need to assign an action to the macro by clicking on the Insert a New Action button on the bottom right-hand side of the window. You will then be presented with an Add a New Action window. In this example, we want to insert the action of striking the projector's lamp, since this action takes some time. So click on where it says Projector to highlight, then click on where it says Lamp to highlight, then click on the Add button. A lamp settings window will appear that prompts you with the projector name. Confirm that this is accurate for your setup. Then select the action or value you want to perform with this macro. Click on the On button to switch to the position On, then click on the OK button. You will then see that in the action window, the message reads our selection of Barcode Projector Lamp On. Next, you'll need to create the next command you want the server to send out. Click on the Insert a New Action button. Click to highlight where it says Library, and then click to highlight where it says ECNA. In this example, we are using an ECNA device, but you could select the corresponding device listed for your particular setup, like a Junior or a raw device that you have added, or if you are using the GPIO cable that comes with the Doremi server. In this case, we will select Library, ECNA, and then click on the Add button. You are then presented with the ECNA pre-built library window that will list many specific functions we might want the device to perform. We are going to select the House Lights Mid 1, then click on the OK button. A Send a Message window will appear for us to select the device. We will click on ECNA, make sure that the message type is selected as text. Now we'll click on the OK button. We will then see that the action Sent House Lights Mid 1 to ECNA has been added to the action list. To continue our example of creating the macro 2D flat start, we will click on the Insert a New Action button. In some cases, you will not want to send all commands down at the same time, so you'll want to insert a macro control by selecting Macro Control from the Add a New Action window. Then highlight the Delay selection to insert a delay between actions. Click the Add button to bring up the Delay Setup window. The Delay Setup window is divided by either minutes or seconds, each of which have a plus or minus selection next to the corresponding section. In this example, we will click on the Seconds Plus button to read 2 seconds, which will delay the macro execution 2 seconds. Click the OK button. Then you'll see that the Delay 2 seconds action has been added. We will insert another new action by clicking on the Insert a New Action button. We are going to add a projector channel switch to 2D action by highlighting the projector, channel switch, and then clicking the Add button. You will be presented with a projector preset setup window. Verify that the correct projector is indicated in the dropdown. Then we'll click on the plus button so that the number 3 is displayed. Note that this selection is just an example. Our selection of 3 does not indicate any particular setting in your projector. Check your specific projector channel settings to input the correct setting for your macro creation. To continue, click on the OK button. Verify that it has been added to your action list. We will add another action to switch the audio to digital 1. To do this, click on Add a New Action button, highlight Library, highlight ECNA, and then click on the Add button. Again, the predefined library window appears, and we will scroll down and select Sound Digital 1. then click the OK button. The Send a Message window appears. Select ECNA, Text, and then click on the OK button. Verify that this action has been added to the action list. Next, we need to add another delay command to separate these commands out. Do this by clicking on the Insert a New Action button. Then, in the Add a New Action window, select Macro Control. Then select Delay, and then click on the Add button. In this example, we will click the Seconds Plus button to read 1 second. Then click on the OK button. The last action we will add to our 2D Flat Start macro is the Dowser Open command. Click the Insert a New Action button, select Projector, then Dowser, then click on the Add button. From the Dowser Settings window, verify that the correct projector is listed. Click the Open button in the Value section, then click on the OK button. Verify that this new action is present in the action list. All the following actions listed here represent an example of a standard 2D Flat Start macro. Projector lamp on, send house lights to mid 1, delay 2 seconds. Next is the switch projector channel, followed by switch to sound to digital 1 on the processor, followed by a delay, and finally open the projector's dowser. Again, this is a typical show sequence. If we want to modify any action, simply click to highlight the action you want to modify. Then click the magnifying glass icon and make your appropriate modification. Click the OK button to save your changes. Should you want to move any action within the order listed, simply click to highlight the action you want to move. Then click either the green up or down arrows located above the action list to move it to your desired place in the sequence. Should you want to delete an action from the list, simply click to highlight the action you want to delete, then click the Remove button above the action list and your action will be deleted. You'll want to create a specific macro for every type of show start. Examples would be 2D Scope Start, 3D Scope Start, and 3D Flat Start. Simply create a macro like we did on our 2D Flat Start macro. Other macro actions you will want to build are Feature, where typically we would add a dimming of the house lights. Add a macro titled Feature. Click the Insert a New Action button. In this example, we will select Library, ECNA, click the Add button, scroll down the library list, then select House Lights Down. Click the OK button. From the Send a Message window, select ECNA, message type is text, and then click on the OK button. A common macro that is created would be named as Credits. This is to be used when the credits begin to roll at the end of the feature and you want to send a command to bring the house lights up to mid as the audience exits the auditorium. To do this, click on the green plus icon and type in Credits. Click the OK button to save the macro name. Click to highlight the macro credits, click the Insert a New Action button, select Library, ECNA, click Add button, scroll down, and click to select the House Lights Mid to action. Then click the OK button. Next, select the device. Click on the OK button. Another typical macro created would be titled as Show End. The Show End macro should have all the actions required to reset the entire auditorium. These actions are typically House Lights Up, followed by adding the action Turn Projector Lamp Off, followed by Switch the audio back to non-sync music, including a delay action between actions. Then lastly, close the projector dowser. Again, the example provided in this demonstration may not specifically correspond to your installed automation hardware or your auditorium needs, but simply used to demonstrate how to create the necessary macros to send automation cues from the Doremi server. Once you have configured everything in the Automation Queue tab, which are outgoing messages from the server, you will need to click on the Trigger Queue tab located in the macro editor. Trigger queues are any signals or actions that are being received by the server. The Trigger Queue tab is broken out into two display windows. The left-hand side window is labeled Trigger, and the right-hand side window is labeled Action. Click on the green plus icon button located at the top left-hand side of the Trigger Queue tab window to add a new trigger. A trigger settings window will appear asking you to input the name of the new trigger. In this example, rename this new trigger Fire Trigger. Click on the OK button. You will see the new trigger has been added to the section titled Trigger. Once you have added your new trigger, you'll want to connect the trigger to an event by clicking the Connect to an Event button located at the bottom right-hand side of the screen. An event window will appear. You'll need to specify whether you're using a GPI, which is from our GPIO cable that was provided with the server, or if you're using a signal from an Ethernet-based device. In this example, we will click on the Signal button. Then a Signal Setup window will appear. From the Source Device Name dropdown, you will select the device name specific to your setup. In this example, we will select ECNA. Then you'll need to either select the signal name from the dropdown, or you could click on the Signal Library Browse button. From the driver window, we will select ECNA, then select Firestop from the Signal window. Then click on the OK button. The Signal Setup window appears for you to validate your proper selections. Then click on the OK button. You will then see that your newly created trigger has an action associated with it. In the SynLister application, you will associate the trigger with the automation, so that once the server receives a signal, that specific automation will occur. Now you'll want to click the Save button located at the top left-hand side of the screen to save the settings. You'll be asked to input an administrative password to save the setting. See your system administrator for this password and key it in. Then click on the OK button. To confirm your settings have been saved, click the Quit button located at the top right hand of the screen. Go to the Menu, SynLister, Editor tab. You should then see all the automation queues you created. If not, click the green Refresh button located at the top left-hand side of the screen. Scroll down the Elements pane to confirm that your newly added fire trigger has been added to the trigger queue's elements. After you have configured your automation and trigger queues in the macro editor, you need to test them to verify that they will work properly. To do this, go to Menu, Doremi Labs, Macro Execution. The Execute Macro window will appear. In the Select a Macro dropdown, you will see all the automation queues that we have created. Click on the one you would like to test, and then click on the Execute button. If you have completed the setup correctly, you will receive a macro successfully executed message. Click the OK button to exit out of this info window. You will want to verify that all your actions have fired successfully. If they did not, you will need to go back into your macro editor tab and automation queue and make your modifications according to your test results. To close out the Execute Macro window, click the Quit button. At this point in the installation, you'll need to test that your connections are correct by playing back content. Before you play back content from the server, verify that your projector is powered on and the browser is open. Next, open the SynLister application from the Menu tab on your Doremi server. Click on the Editor tab. In this example, we will select a piece of content that we have already ingested from the factory, titled STEM DCI Chinese Subtitles. Click to highlight and then click the Add to Show Playlist button located at the top of the window so that the title appears in the Elements page. Click the Playback tab and then click on the Play button. If your installation is a success, then you will see that the content playing and hear the audio associated with the content. Lastly, if you do not see picture or hear sound, go back and check your connections and verify that your configurations are correct as demonstrated earlier in this tutorial. That concludes our demonstration. Should you need any additional assistance, please contact our local technical support team. Thank you for watching.